welcome back to World Championship Hockey on Eurosport. Well, we got one down slappy on the rink as we get set to show you the highlights of Russia and Germany. The carrot is there. Slappy follows the carrot, gets off the ice. The Russians playing from right to left, and the Germans playing from left to right. The Germans, fresh from that close game with the Canadians, 3-2 was the result, but the Russians are ever so powerful.
They certainly are. The Russians 12-3 over the British, 7-0 against the Italians. They beat the Austrians in a hard-fought game by the Austrians. The Russians came on top 4-1.
The Germans drawing their first game with the Austrians 2-2, beating Great Britain 4-0. And then, as I said, just losing out to the Canadians 3-2. This is a highlights package, one of many that we will be bringing you and have brought you since the start of this competition. About a week ago, clearance in there by Evtushevsky, and this new-look German team is very physical, it's fast, and they're finding their way out there. Testing the goaltender was Mayer from way back at the blue.
Шталенков coming up with a good save. Meyer can really let him rip from the blue line. He gets all of it through a crowd. Шталенков has the puck.
The penalty expiring, and the Russians back at full strength. The Russians ever so powerful with the addition of Valery Kamensky back from Quebec. Nicolishin has been playing some good hockey along with Berezin. Berezin, one of my favorites on the Olympic team. He's out there, and this guy makes things happen. Kamensky, the back pass, set it up in the corner.
Looked like a broken play. The Russians continued on. The Germans scampering to try and get into position. Right in front of the goal. The Russians with a good opportunity. The save is made. Merrick holds on.
Emilin letting that shot go. And the goaltender tested from close in. Bouncing puck goes all the way back. And the Russians, in front of a capacity crowd here, continue to apply the pressure. The Germans are very physical, as I said. They don't like to give up the puck without a fight. But when you're right in front like that with Frolov pushing Merrick into the net, it's very, very difficult indeed.
Certainly one way of trying to score. If you can't find the puck, push the goalie into the net with it. The Russians putting a lot of strength together right around the front of the German goal. Frolov trying to force that one through. Kinaz back in a hurry, but Merrick getting the worst of it. Frolov doing everything but taking Merrick's credit cards on the play.
Still no score in this one as the action continues in the first period. The Germans under a lot of pressure. They have the majority of the support. Big hit by Ulyanov. The Russians very, very physical as well. Gulda, a Czech-born German out there trying to get the puck away from Fedulov. The shot comes in, and Jitnik, number 4, gets the first goal of the game.
'21-year-old Jitnik, who plays his hockey in LA, 12 goals and 40 assists this year in the NHL. He knows how to shoot the puck. Merrick trying to get back up. He's on his feet, but this one is a blast.
The support for this German team is second to none in this competition. Another big shot and another big save. Frolov getting a piece of it, but Merck holding on in the crease.
The Russians looking very strong. Merck seeing a lot of red shirts in front of him. The Germans struggling to try and clear the front of Merck's goal.
Shendelef tries to set things up and then skates away. More pressure from the Russians as they continue to shoot at Merck and throw the puck around nice. Ilya Byakin, a late addition to the team, takes it up now, right up to the blue. Ilya Byakin working with Fedulov off the side of the net, but that doesn't slow Byakin down. He continues to work in there, gets it over to the far side. Kamensky, a lot of moves, a lot of time. Kamensky moving in, right in front now, and that comes back to the blue line. The Russians with a great power play. They really do throw the puck around nicely. Kamensky gets it out front. And that's goal number 2. Fedulov slides it into the far corner.
All the pressure coming from Russia. The Germans not really putting much of an attack together. Russian player down. Heavy hit thrown by Gulda. The Russian player still down onto the ice after the goal. Fedulov getting the pass from Kamensky and putting it behind Merck for the second Russian goal. Russians on top by 2. Kovaalenko getting up very slow, getting a warm round of applause from the crowd. He took a heavy hit, as I said, from Peter Gulda, number 8.
Let's take another look at this. Gould gets him with his head down. He was half slouched over there.
For his efforts, Kovaalenko did collect an assist on the goal.
That'll make him feel a lot better. Again, the puck slides into the German zone, and the Germans under one heck of a lot of pressure out there. Every once in a while, they made their way down the ice. They weren't able to finish it off. Yushkevich lets a blast go from well over 60 feet away, and that's number 3.
The Russians with another NHLer back and playing for the national team. Yushkevich, the big defenseman who plays his hockey with the Philadelphia Phillies, lets it go from the blue line. He has the 3rd Russian goal. Kovaalenko still getting some work along the behind the bench from the trainer. Yushkevich puts the Russians 3 up on the Germans in the first period.
5-on-3 situation now as the period winds down. Merck coming up big. Fedulov unable to put the puck beyond Merck. Byakin tried. Shots coming from all angles. But the buzzer finally went and the Germans hurried to the dressing room. 3-0 was the score. And they were expecting more of the same in the second period. The Russians showing that they are going to be there in the final 4, and if they can do something about it, in the final 2.
Good period of hockey offensively and defensively for the Russians. They got out of their zone very quickly against the Germans, who have had a good forecheck. Guys like Kupp and Brandl, Leo Stefan as well, really put a lot of pressure on opposing teams' defensemen, but they really weren't much of a factor in the first period.
Russians with a 5-on-3 situation just take their time. Shendelev back on the defense. He played on the Olympic team. Shendelev lets it go, and it comes over to the far side. And again, the Russians set it up nicely. Right out front, shot comes through, and Kovalenkov let it fly. Fedulov gets it back, the side of the net. The Germans hanging on in there. Byakin playing some good hockey for the Russians. Still a 5-on-3 situation. Now 5-on-4. Kamensky and Byakin. Return pass. Kamensky goes in and just creases that one beyond the goal. Fedulov gives it to Kovalenkov, who gets it back, and the Russians not taking shots on goal. If there's a, I guess if there is a criticism, that's it. Merrick makes a save, and we have a whistle. And the Germans staying out there as they kill off these penalties.
The Germans maintaining a very disciplined box. The Russians, through Kamensky, trying to move the puck around quickly. Fedulov, Kovalenkov, Byakin, those four guys really doing a good job with Shendelev. They just couldn't get anything going behind the Germans.
Der Wagen ist geöffnet. Sie haben Wertsachen im Wagen. Ich wiederhole, Audi 100, Pennnummer.
The Germans continue to soak up the pressure and struggle to get out of their own zone. Yushkevich just tips it in. Everyone comes out of the zone. 8 minutes gone in the second period. These are the highlights of this Russia-German game played earlier on today. The Germans struggling in this one. Very pretty goal indeed. Emilin, Frolov setting him up, threading the eye of the needle. That's number 4.
The Russians changing things up. Fresh bodies coming out on the ice. Frolov slams on the brakes, takes his time. He's got a lot of it right in front of the goal. Emilin wide open. All he has to do is get his stick on the puck. A very nice play by Frolov. Emilin with a finishing touch.
Sztelenko between the pipes for Russia, not really tested in this game at all. The Germans had 1 or 2 opportunities, but nothing very serious. The Russians controlled it from the opening face-off. They didn't wait to settle into the game. They took it to the Germans, and they really did pound them out of the building. Fedulov continues to work hard in the corners and set things up. Goaltender down. Kovalenkov left all alone. Well, if the Germans watch the video of this game, they're going to be talking to their defenseman, that's for sure.
Kovalenkov could have had a picnic while he was waiting for the puck to come to him. All kinds of time. The Germans way out of position. Kovalenkov is there. What is Merrick going to do? He's only human. He bounces around, does the best thing he can do, but he can't come up with it as Kovalenkov has one too many moves. A very easy goal for Kovalenkov.
13:34 del secondo tempo, quinto gol per la Russia, segna il numero 26 Andrei Kovalenkov, assistito dal 6
The Russian supporters now really have gone quiet. They had a lot to cheer about against the Canadians because it looked like at one time they were going to win that hockey game. But in this one, they were never really in it.
Assisted by number 6 Byakin and number 11 Fedulov. Time 13:34, second period. 5. Tor für Russland durch die Nummer 26 Kovalen auf Zuspiel der Nummer 6 Bякин.
One-way traffic from beginning to end, and another play coming close with Цыплаков breaking in, but Merck coming up with the loose puck. Tough assignment for the Germans to play two top teams.
We did expect a closer game, though. The Germans played so well against the Canadians, and the Russians struggled with the Austrians. That was a tough game.
He says, yes, yes, yes. Okay, I made a mistake on the first one, but I got it in on the second one. Very Buре, the youngster who's come back from hockey in North America to play on this Russian team, really has excited a lot of people.
Well, the frightening thing is this kid's come back from playing junior hockey in North America. He's certainly going to be in the NHL before long. First chance hits the bar, the second one is in the net. It's nice to see the excitement that these young guys have. They show it when they score a goal. Guys like QIWI, Buре, great amount of energy displayed every time they get on the score sheet.
6-0 the score, and the Russians go into cruise control. Germans putting a couple of passes together, but too little too late. The buzzer goes and ends the second period. Excellent period for the Russians. They picked up 3 goals. They picked up 3 goals in the first period, and after 40 minutes of hockey, it's 6-0. The Germans struggling from beginning to end.
Dann haben wir Borussia Mönchengladbach, 1. FC Köln 4:1, Dynamo Dresden.
Welcome back. We're taking a look at the highlights of this game play between Russia and Germany. Third period action. The Russians leading the Germans 6-0. And in the third period, the Russians just played with the Germans. They threw the puck around, did what they had to do to keep the Germans away from their net. The Russians are so strong. They've really put together a fine team after struggling in the Olympics, finishing 4th, the first time ever out of the medal round for them. They've come back with a lot of NHL stars, and they really do look like they're going to be medal contenders. They're getting stronger as they go on. They've got good goaltending in Шталенков and Ivanikov. Excellent defense in Yushkevich, Jitnik, and Frolov, along with 1 or 2 more like Sorokin and Ulanov and Shendelev. Up front, well, boy, what can you say? Kamensky, Buре, Nikolishin, Bezukladnikov, Kovаленко. All these guys are excellent hockey players. They've all been around, and they know what to do in a situation like this. Kamensky, one of the top players on the Russian team, trying to pick up his first goal of the game. Still with Kamensky. He works right along that blue line. For a big guy, he works well in confined spaces. Coming up now to the final minute of this game.
I think we expected too much from the Germans, Paul. They did give the Canadians a good game, but the Canadians weren't really on their stride either. It wasn't a great performance by Canada. They came away with the win, but we know the Canadians are capable of better things. The Russians struggled with the Austrians. I think the Austrians played out of their socks to stay within 3 goals of the Russians. It was actually 2. The 4th Russian goal was an empty netter. But the Russian team is, as you just said, getting stronger and stronger, and they are just playing great hockey right now.
The Russians meet the Canadians in their next game, and that should be a good one. I'm looking forward to seeing that. And the Germans take on the Italians. Can you imagine what this place is going to be like?
Half of Germany is in Italy right now. They're sleeping in cars, caravans all over the place, trying to get tickets for these games. You're right, the German and Italian game is going to be a packed house.
The Russians forechecking right up to the final whistle. Шталенков being tested in the final few seconds, but it really wasn't to be. Eventually shot away by Emmelin as Frolov picked it up and got it out of harm's way. So the Russians pick up another victory, and the Germans will go back to the drawing board for their next game against the Italians. An excellent performance by the Big Red Machine. And they show that they can play solid two-way hockey for 60 minutes. They really have done well in this competition. The Germans struggled right from the opening face-off, and this one ended with 1 or 2 people pushing and shoving, but nothing too serious at all.
Good sportsmanship at the end. There was some rough stuff at the final whistle. Teams sorted themselves out.
So today the Finns beat the French, and the Russians beat the Germans, and Norway and Czech draw. What will happen tonight? Sweden, USA, join